Okay, so this is how to build an animal, also known as embryological development. All animals start out the same way as a zygote, that first cell that is diploid, that's derived from the fusion of gametes, sperm and egg. It's going to divide by mitosis into 2 cells and 4 cells, and eventually it's going to form a morula, which is a solid ball of cells. It comes to us from the Latin word for mulberry. And then that morula is going to develop into a hollow ball of cells called a blastula. And the space inside the blastula is called the blastocele. Okay, the next thing that happens is the beginning of gastrulation, going from the blastula to the gastrula. And we get a little dent in the blastula. It's called the blastopore. Alright, so when that happens, we end up with 2 layers of cells. We have an outer layer and an inner layer. The outer layer is called the ectoderm. The inner layer is called the endoderm. And now we finally form what's called a gastrula. And the space here in the middle, right there, you see that? That's called the archenteron. So for some animals, that's all they get, is these 2 germ layers. 2 germ layers. We say they're diploblastic, and this includes members of the phyla of the radiata, which are the cnidarians, and the ctenophores. And they only have a tissue level of organization. So that's what happens that's the consequence of being diploblastic. All right, but in most of the other animals, some of those endoderm cells slough off, and they start to grow and divide and line the inside of the blastocele to form a 3rd germ layer called the mesoderm. It's between the ectoderm and the endoderm. And these organisms, which are most organisms, are triploblastic, or have 3 germ layers. Okay, so what happens next is one of a couple of things. One thing is that the fate of the blastopore is that it's going to become the mouth. And these organisms are called protostomes, and we'll talk about the protostome lineages later. The other thing that can happen as the blastopore pushes all the way through to make this thing into something like a donut, the whole of the donut is going to become the gut, is that the blastopore might become the anus. And that's what happened to you and me and all of our vertebrate friends, because we are deuterostomes. And deuterostome means second the mouth, as opposed to protoprox, or something that would mean first the anus. So anyway, that's the overall history of how to build an animal from just a zygote all the way through to an organism that has a complete gut.